Welcome back, everyone. The iPhone 13 Pro Max just officially came out, so let's go and take a look at it against the iPhone 10 and see which one is the better value per dollar, maybe which one you should buy. Now, the iPhone 10s you can pick up literally in the used market for like around $300. The 13 Pro Maxes are starting at $1099, so keep that in mind. Definitely a big price gap. If you want to pick up either one of these things on Amazon, though, I'll leave both of these linked down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely see a massive difference between these two phones. The 13 Pro Max has a beautiful, massive 6.7-inch OLED panel, actually a little bit bigger than that, where the iPhone 10 has a smaller 5.8-inch OLED panel. Now, I will say visibly they look kind of the same, okay? I don't really think one panel looks like sharper or way better. The 13 Pro Max can go brighter, which is a big thing to keep in mind, but the iPhone 13 Pro Max has that ProMotion display, that 120 hertz panel, and this in and of itself is one of the biggest advantages of buying an iPhone 13 Pro Max over the iPhone 10. This panel, well, with the iPhone 13 Pro, they have a solid panel on it, and it's one of my favorite things about it for sure. The iPhone 10's panel is still good. It's a smaller phone, so you may be able to feel, kind of one-handed a little bit easier, but definitely, the 13 Pro Max has a better display. On the side, you can see that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is a much thicker phone as well. It's also much heavier and much bigger, so that's a big thing to keep in mind. But the iPhone 10, like in terms of premiumness, they both still feel kind of the same, although the back is a pretty big difference. The iPhone 10 has that glass back, where the iPhone 13 Pro Max has that frosted glass back. So there is quite a bit of difference between these two: a triple camera setup on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, dual camera setup on the iPhone 10, wireless charging on both, IP certification on both as well. So not a big difference there, but definitely when it comes down to it, I love the 13 Pro series. I love the frosted glass back. It makes the phone feel and look so different. They still have the notches, and that's one thing about the iPhone 10, why it still looks so premium and still so new, because they haven't removed that notch. Even though it's smaller, like, it's not a big deal. They pretty much, it's the same thing. It's the same philosophy. I wish they added a little bit more capability to the 13 Pro Max's notch, battery percentage, something like that, but they didn't, so there's nothing we can do about it. Now, in terms of longevity, this is by far one of the bigger differences between these two. Although they kind of look the same and they kind of have the same thing going on, the iPhone 10, which came out in 2017, is not going to last as long as the iPhone, 13 Pro Max. So that's a big thing to keep in mind. This phone is probably not going to, it's probably going to be years and years behind the 13 Pro Max. So if you want a phone, and even though they're supported now, for the same time and everything, the 13 Pro Max is going to beat it for sure. So if you want a phone that's going to last the longest amount of time, any of the iPhone 13 series is a better way to go, but the 13 Pro Max, specifically in this video, is definitely the better option for you. So that pretty much covers it up there. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these iPhones. The 13 Pro Max has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 10 has that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster iPhone between both of these. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear out in the background, as you guys can see. So let's get into it. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And pretty much the same thing, I think. Let's get into music, 3, 2, 1. And pretty much the same thing as well. Sorry if these phones are kind of, slanted. The App Store is 3, 2, 1. And definitely the iPhone 13 Pro Max was faster there. Swiping through, you can kind of see the same thing, but the iPhone 10 did glitch up a little bit there. Clicking into this one, I guess it didn't register on the iPhone 10. Swiping out of this one, let's get into clock, 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone 13 Pro Max was faster. Mail, 3, 2, 1. Again, the iPhone 13 Pro Max is faster. Did get into a little bit of a different pop-up on this phone. Settings, 3, 2, 1. And even on an app like Settings, the 13 Pro Max is still faster there. Let's do Apple TV Plus. No, let's not. Let's do camera, 3, 2, 1. I don't know. You can never really tell with this one. Photos, 3, 2, 1. I think the 13 Pro Max was a little bit faster there. And as always, you guys, we have a bunch of these third-party applications we can go and test out. So let's get into it. Let's do Twitter, 3, 2, 1. 13 Pro Max, quite a bit ahead of the iPhone 10. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. iPhone 13 Pro Max, again, is the faster one. Fruit Ninja, which I do not have here, which is very weird. So we'll jump into Stack, 3, 2, 1. And this one was weird. So the iPhone 10 was actually able to get into this one faster. I don't know why that happened, but it was kind of interesting. Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 13 Pro Max was faster there. Gameplay wise, again, I don't think we're going to see that big of a difference, but still pretty cool that the iPhone 10 was kind of faster there, to be honest. Thank you, 321. And not at the Snake versus Block specifically with the stack one. That's what I was talking about. And the 13 Pro Max is faster. iPhone 10 a little bit behind, and again, I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference in terms of gameplay between these two. Netflix 321. 13 Pro Max is faster. iPhone 10 a little bit behind. Quizlet 321. 13 Pro Max again is the faster one. Hopping out of here. It's going into Dropbox 321. iPhone 13 Pro Max again is faster. Bofa I don't have. Temple Run 2 321. And the 13 Pro Max, again, is the faster one here by quite a bit. And I'm glad to be seeing these types of differences. I'm glad the iPhone 10 is slower. I don't want the iPhone 10 to, outbeat the iPhone 13 Pro Max because I want, if we're spending so much money on this phone, I want it to be faster. And we can try, Snapchat 321. I don't know if I'm logged, okay, so I'm not logged into either one of these. And to be honest, I think that pretty much covers it up. The 13 Pro Max is a much faster phone in my opinion than the iPhone 10. And like I mentioned, this is a really, really good thing. I'm seeing substantial differences even in terms of like RAM management. When I go and click open an older app, it's a much smoother experience on the iPhone 13 Pro Max as well. So for sure, going from an iPhone 10 to a 13 Pro Max is a pretty good upgrade in terms of speed. Now let's go and hit on the cameras. Now on the back, we have kind of a different setup. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has a triple camera setup, a wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lens. The iPhone 10 has a dual camera setup, a wide, and a telephoto lens. Now here's the thing. Look at how much bigger those sensors are on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I mean, that is a crazy big difference. Now, in terms of the UIs, you can pretty much see that they have the exact same thing going on. There's really not that big of a difference. You have video mode and photo mode and all this stuff, but you do have this new cinematic mode on the iPhone 13 Pro Max. The iPhone 10 has the portrait mode, and you can do 4K at 60 on the back of both of these things, but you can only do 1080p on the front of the iPhone 10, where you can do full 4K at 60 on the front of the 13 Pro Max. So that's a pretty gnarly difference between these two, if I'm being honest. Now with the iPhone 10's camera, I think it's still very good for, the price tag that it is and for what it was when it first came out. That telephoto lens is very good too. I don't think it's perfect though, and I do think it's fairly grainy for this day and age. It's definitely gotten, update after update after update on the iPhone 10s, the 11s, and the iPhone 12s and 13s. But this camera is good. You have portrait mode, like I mentioned, 4K 60 on the back. The front camera isn't really that great, and it does kind of show its age nowadays. The iPhone 13 Pro Max, on the other hand, definitely is a far better camera. You have a lot more capability. That ultra-wide sensor brings a lot more awesomeness to it, which I love. The telephoto lens is also very good as well. I mean, I just love having these types of sensors on these phones. And that cinematic mode is also extremely cool. So you can't really go wrong with this type of phone, to be honest. So when it comes down to this camera, I love it. The iPhone 10's camera is still good for its price and for its age, but the 13 Pro Max is definitely the better one. So now we make it to the end of the video. So should you go and buy an iPhone 13 Pro Max? Should you buy an iPhone 10? Well, this is what I'll tell you. If you have an iPhone 10, I still think this is still a pretty capable phone. I still think it has a lot going for it. But here's the thing, man. The iPhone 13 Pro Max is a very solid upgrade coming from the iPhone 10. You're getting better battery life, you're getting better display, ProMotion, better cameras, better build quality, longevity, more storage on the base models. Like, this thing is a perfect upgrade. Yes, it's more expensive, but it's a perfect phone. It's a perfect iPhone in my opinion. But the iPhone 10 is still very good too. Like, you still have a lot of capability here. It's still pretty fast. It has a pretty good build quality. You'd be surprised how expensive the iPhone 10 still feels. It still feels like a $800, $900, maybe $1,000 phone. The screen is still good. It's still getting software support. This phone's not going anywhere for like another 2-3 years. So if you have an iPhone 10, going to the 13 Pro Max is good, but I wouldn't necessarily go and update today if you don't have to. But again, it's not always good to just keep waiting for the next one. And this is a very solid upgrade, and I'm really happy about it. I think the cutoff point is about that iPhone XS series. So if you have an iPhone XS, XS Max 10 or below, including the iPhone 10, going to any of the iPhone 13s is a pretty solid upgrade. I would recommend going to the 13 Pro or 13 Pro Max, but any of the iPhone 13s coming from a 10R, 10S, or 10S Max or below is a very good upgrade for sure. So that pretty much covers it. You can't really go wrong with either one of these phones if I'm being completely honest. So that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.